morning, everybody. I'm so happy to have this chance to give my presentation. Before I start my speech, let me introduce myself first. My name is Realista Stianingrum, NIM 36014190025. Majoring in Social Science Education, Faculty of Social Science, Semarang State University. Today, I will share about Journal of Sociology. Let me introduce the outline first. My presentation will be given in 5 parts. There are journal identity, abstract, and then method and data, result, and last conclusion. Okay, let's start with first slide. The title of this journal is Children and the Revolution, a time diary analysis of the impact of motherhood on daily workload. The volume of this journal is 42, 2006 by Lynn Craig. Abstract. Many of the change seen in women and men already having children. A woman's personal well-being is greatly reduced when she becomes mother. Having children intensifies gender inequities in the allocation of time by increasing women's specialization and workload. Therefore, this research was conducted to determine and analyze the impact of being a mother on the daily workload and provide a comparison of time between parents and non-parents. Method and data. This study used the Australian Bureau of Statistics or ABS time use survey 90 and 97 are TUS. The TUS is the most recent in a regular series of cross-sectional time use surveys conducted by the ABS. These surveys reach the highest standard of time diary methodology recognized by international specialists to be the most accurate method of time data collection. Analysis. The paper used ordinary least squares regression analysis to isolate the effects of parenthood independent of other influence upon daily workload. Dependent variables. The dependent variables represent time spent in work activities, both paid and unpaid. Specifically, they are hours a day spent in direct childcare, 3 hours a day spent in unpaid work, 4 hours a day spent in total productive activity, 5 hours a day spent in total productive activities as either primary or a secondary activity. The comparison that is focused upon in this article is that between childless people and parents of one child aged between 0 until 2 years old, that is under 3. The variables held constant are educational qualifications, labor force status, spouse hours in market work, respondent age, use of non-parental childcare, household income, day of the week, and whether there is a disabled person in the household. The analysis is run separately for men and women. The reference category is a childless man or woman, age 35 until 44, with no post-school education, who use no non-parental childcare, has no disabled household member on a weekday. When paid work is part of the dependent variable, labor force status is excluded. Otherwise, labor force status is set at the model categories for Australian parents. Next, the result. We can see in this research result diagram, there are 4 colors. Red color for domestic labor, blue for childcare, green for employment, and purple for secondary activity or paid or unpaid work. I like to start from domestic labor. Okay, let's see. Women do much more housework than men do, whether or not they are childless. Childless men in the reference category average less than an hour a day domestic labor, compared to base category childless women average of over 3 hours. Fathers of one child under 3 years old do not spend any more time in domestic labor than childless men. In contrast, mothers of a child under 3 allocate 25 more minutes to domestic labor other than child care than do childless women. Let's move to child care. In the diagram, we can see blue color. Childless women and men do not need spend their time nurturing, while mothers and fathers allocate about twice as much time to unpaid work. Children under 3 absorb nearly 3.5 hours of maternal time daily and more than an hour of paternal time. But the total amount of children plus domestic labor time is much higher for women than for men. For mothers of one child under 3 years old, unpaid work totals over 7 hours a day, double that of their childless counterparts, and nearly 4 times that of equivalent fathers. Next, employment. Mothers average 10% of their total work time in paid activities. Childless women, in contrast, spend over half their total work time in paid activities. Fathers do not spend less time in paid work than childless men. Secondary activity are paid and unpaid work. Both childless men and childless women average a total paid and unpaid workload of 7.75 hours as a primary activity. In contrast, fathers of a child under 3 work on average nearly 8.2 hours in paid and unpaid work as a primary activity, and equivalent mothers average 8.3 hours a day. 7.75 hours found for childless people's total work as primary activity. In contrast, including it in the workload of father of one child under 3 reveals a workday of nearly 10 hours. Including it in the workload of mothers of one child under 3 indicates they will spend on average 12.5 hours a day in paid or unpaid work. The last conclusion. This article compares the welfare of parents and non-parents quantified in the metric of daily workload. It undertakes this comparison because the social challenges that accompany parenthood are as much about time constraints as about the scarcity of many resources. Children require both time and money, but paid work and looking after children are currently. This new and comprehensive picture of the impact of parenthood on daily life show both how large and how gender are the time requirements associated with having children. Raising children is not easy because it requires sacrificing personal well-being, which we have seen in the ratio of working hours between parents and non-parents, especially for women. The working hours will increase. Raising children constitutes productive and socially valuable labor, and failing to evenly distribute the costs involved has consequences for all. Well, this is my last slide from my presentation today. Thank you for listening and thank you for your kind attention. I want to close this presentation with a quote, which this quote always makes me want to keep running and running to achieve my dreams. Anything is possible for me. What I see with my heart, I will see with my eyes.